In this episode, everybody, I am talking about some ways that I am shedding layers as a middle-aged Black woman. And what do I mean by that? I literally mean that I'm giving you 5 tips of how to live lighter in this stage of life. There's a whole lot of things that I feel obligated to do that I actually put unnecessary pressure into my world. And the older that I got, I was able to kind of release and let go of that and put my self care and my priorities first. So I want you to pay attention to this if it's something that you also are struggling with, and let me know how it resonates with you. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. So stay tuned for ways that I am shedding layers as a middle-aged Black woman. Hello there, and welcome back to the Melanated Midlife podcast. Like I said before, if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. If you've been here and following along for this journey, then I definitely appreciate your support. Today, I have a solo episode where I want to take a moment about some lessons that I've learned as a midlife Black woman and the things that I've kind of embraced and a lot of the things that I've let go of. And the whole point, what I call this metamorphosis, is really shedding layers. Kind of like, something, a snake, which, oh God, I'm comparing myself to a snake. Let me back up a little bit. But basically, just layers of extra stuff and drama that I've decided to very slowly let go of in this season of life. And I tell you, it wasn't always a conscious decision. Some of this has come about by, I don't know, maybe through lessons learned, through mistakes, through chaos and drama from experiences. There's a lot that I have changed and streamlined about what I'm doing now in this midlife era. So I have 5 tips of ways that I'm living lighter, truly living lighter, like I feel lighter going through the day, going through my routine. 5 tips from me about how to shed layers as a middle-aged Black woman. So let me talk about first the part that you can actually see. I have totally reevaluated my beauty routine. And, yes, I'm talking with the vanity stuff first. So you probably thought I was going to get deep and philosophical and spiritual and everything. No, the first tip that I want to give you is to reevaluate your beauty routine. For me, and you can see it right now, I've got my new do, and I will take every opportunity I can to talk about how I've streamlined what I look like. Once upon a time, I used to go through all of the stuff of straightening the hair and covering up the gray and then doing the no humidity, no frizz stuff to try to fit into a certain box with the way I looked when I walked out the door. But what I have done during this season of life is that I don't want to take a whole lot of time getting ready in the morning. And besides, my husband is a grouchy old so-and-so, and he just doesn't want to give me that kind of time. So when he's like, hey, let's go eat, let's go visit or whatever, we're kind of like in the mode of walking out the door right then. So I try to do some type of hair routine that is going to be very low maintenance. So the fact that you see me with the big curly fro now at 51 years old is very much deliberate because this is my version of low maintenance. It doesn't matter what kind of weather we got going on outside. It doesn't matter if it's going to be an outdoor event, indoor type of chill thing. This is pretty much going to look the same no matter what. I also, after I hit my next birthday, you'll see that change here on the podcast. I'm planning on going even a little bit shorter by the time my next birthday comes around in a couple of months. So you're going to see the shorter hair. It's just going to start getting shorter and shorter and shorter until there's nothing there because, again, I'm trying to streamline that whole routine. The other thing that I've changed about my look, my beauty routine, is that I am a short girl. You can't tell it by looking at me sitting here right now. I am 5'2". I'm extremely short for a grown-up woman. So that used to cause me to wear a lot of high heels all the time because I did have a complex about it. I didn't like being the shortest person in the picture. I didn't like standing next to my children, and they were both two tall guys. I looked like I was their little sister. So I would always have on 2 inch, 3 inch heels no matter where I went. But as cute as that was, I was uncomfortable as hell. So I have changed my footwear where everything that I put on my feet when I walk out the door is probably going to be flat, or else it's going to be a chunky, comfortable wedge. It's going to be more support around the outer parts of the foot, and it's going to have a thicker sole. So if I put it on at 7 a.m., I'm still fresh and I'm able to walk by 7 p.m. And I still feel like I look good. I can still sit down and not be cranky because my feet aren't swollen and hurting. So that is something that I have definitely made a conscious effort to improve over the years. Another thing that I've done is wearing comfy, cool clothing. And if you go back and look at the episode where I was talking about my menopause struggles and how I'm always sweating, how I'm always drinking a big mug of ice water, it is because the menopause hot flashes just do not let up. They've gotten a little bit better. I've changed a few things with my health routine to kind of, help that along a little bit. But wearing comfortable, cotton, breathable clothing is a must. There's absolutely nothing in my laundry right now that is not washable. Nothing's going to the dry cleaners because this is pretty much it. I mean, if you see me breaking out in the sweat, you won't see it, really coming out, sweat stains or anything coming through the clothing, because whatever I'm going to be wearing is cotton and loose fitting. That's just who I am. And then another thing is wearing sunscreen. As a Black woman, I never appreciated the protection of sunscreen because I felt like, I'm in the sun, I'm not trying to tan, I don't burn and all that jazz. So I never understood that sunscreen was something I needed. Plus, we had a lot of products out there that just didn't look good on Black skin, even though I may not have as deep of a skin tone, but there were some products that you would put on your face or on your skin where on Black people, it looked weird. It was a white film that would be across your skin. And so I have found some products that work a lot better for my skin tone, but I do not leave the house any day without putting sunscreen on. I now understand that the few wrinkles that I have, I don't want to multiply them. I don't want to help them increase unnaturally. So the little bit of firmness and skin tone that I have right now, I kind of want to save it, and that is from using sunscreen. So those are all my tips of how I have streamlined my beauty routine just to keep things at a minimum in this phase of life. But my second big tip for you is to start setting boundaries. And I was amazed at how many people, whether at my age or older, still feel like they have to over-explain themselves for anything that they don't want to do, people that they don't want to hang around, activities that they don't want to be a part of. It continues to amaze me how so many people are afraid to say the word no. Simple as that. No. No. A complete sentence. No. Period. No. Exclamation point. It is a full sentence, no matter how you intend it to be. But I am able to use that term to set boundaries more comfortably now in this season of life. And I don't apologize for it. I don't necessarily give a bunch of explanations. If you ask me, hey, do you want to go out and do this or whatever? No. Would you like to work late because we've got a particular... No. Would you like to take on this additional responsibility because it's going to... No. And it's pretty much stopping right there. I know that once upon a time, I used to be the person that would try to make up a reason that was good enough for other people to accept it and not bother me again. But I realize now that telling those little white lies to avoid stuff that I don't want to do, over-explaining myself, apologizing when I'm not available, I just cut that out. And over time, people have come to respect those boundaries and not try to push me into things that I don't want to do. So it is something, it is a muscle that you have to continue to build. You have to make it stronger. But the first time that you feel yourself trying to justify your decision for other people, then you probably are doing it wrong. That is probably a moment where you need to practice saying no. No, thank you. No, but thanks. No, but I appreciate it. It's still no. Okay? So set boundaries, learn how to say no when it's something that you don't want to do or be a part of. And that leads me into my third tip, which is protecting my peace. That I hear said a lot these days with when we talk about self-care, mindfulness, really just taking care of you before other people, but I don't know if people know how to practice protecting their peace. And for me, protecting my peace looks a couple of different ways. It can, number one, be avoiding chaotic, drama-filled relationships. When I was younger, I think my friend circle was pretty big. I had a lot of folks that I would call on a regular basis, big, broad amount of people that I would hang out with, or my husband and I would hang out with. And when you're younger, there are times when you have FOMO, where you feel like other people are doing this thing, so therefore you want to be included. But sometimes having that big, broad friend group can lead to some of those relationships just not being for you. Some folks do seem to have drama that follows them. Some folks may have not so positive feelings towards you, but they keep up a certain image or keep up a certain, way that they pretend to be cool with you, and it's just not the case. And it's like, at my age, I don't have time for folks that aren't genuine. I don't have time for people that don't match my peaceful energy. And that's okay. You are fine to go off and live your life. You're fine to go and find people that are like you. But for me, usually I can protect my peace by making sure that I keep certain chaotic relationships out of my circle. The other thing is that there are certain types of outings, chaotic outings, like going out to the club, going out to really loud, crowded events, places like concerts. I will say that going to big arena concerts is not something I've done in a very long time. And for me, it's just, I don't like to be a part of the really big crowds. We do go out and listen to live music all the time. That is actually something that was a big plus of us moving into the city, was that we are truly 5 minutes away from any place where we want to go and hear live music any night of the week. That is cool. Being in an intimate setting and going to a comedy event, or maybe someplace where there's a jazz club, a jazz trio that's performing, those are cool. But maybe going all the way to the Toyota Center or all the way to Minute Maid Park to hear, few tens of thousands of people yelling, sitting next to me to see a music performance, it's cool, but it's just not for me anymore, because I kind of get the heebie-jeebies with that many folks close to me, and I'm just thinking of all the different ways that this scenario could go wrong. So, that is just my personal preference. You do you. If that is something that you are still into, go have at it. But for me, that's been a way that I keep my little bubble peaceful. And the other thing that I do just on an everyday basis, something very simple that you are able to do yourself as well, is I like my alone time. I like my alone time. I like the way that I can kind of decompress for the day after a lot has gone on with work or with business or with clients. Or it could be the way I start my day, where I get up early every single day. It doesn't matter if it's Monday or if it's a weekend day. I get up at the same time every single morning because I like the peaceful, quiet morning hours. Before the rest of the world has gotten up and added to the noise, or the pressures and deadlines and everything have come into play, I appreciate my mornings. And during that time, I like to do my quiet stuff. I go for my cleansing walks. That's what I call it. When I take my dog out, or if I go solo, I put on an audiobook and I go for what I call a cleansing walk. And that is really just for me to just chill, take in some fresh air, some sunlight, and just really work on my peace. It's not where I'm having to present to anyone. I'm not having to create anything. I'm not having to be on a call about work or whatever. It is just me and myself having a good time, just being chill. And I also go for times when I want to just be in a corner and read a book. I go to coffee shops and I will just put my headphones on and read whatever fiction. And that's another thing. I am an avid reader. I love, love, love to read. I always have either an audio book, a print book, or a digital book that is available every single day that I can reach for. But what I've done lately is I've been intentional about reading fiction. For me, that is a method of escapism where I can get into a literary space where I am reading someone else's story. It doesn't matter if it's science fiction or I love my vampire books. I love to, good old fashioned romance can make my day any day. But any type of fiction books, that is another place where I like to just decompress, have some peaceful, quiet time. And it just helps me reset for whatever other pressures are going to be coming into my space later. And my next tip, I actually need to circle back because my fourth tip that I want to give you to start shedding some layers and doing your own thing in midlife is there are some relationships that need to retire naturally. And that tip alone, I need to probably break that down for you, allowing some relationships to retire. At my age, again, going back to chaotic relationships, chaotic environments, I'm at a space in my 50s where I don't feel the need to keep up with everyone and everything. I've done a whole lot in my half century on this earth. I've met a lot of people, had a lot of really cool experiences, and as a result of that, I've gotten more and more clear of what is for me and what is not for me. And sometimes that's people that have been in my life, people that were close to me at 20 years old. Maybe we are not the same fit at 50 years old. If there is somebody that I've, just held on to that relationship for whatever reasons and tried to make it work, we've done the things like, hey, girl, we really need to get together, or hey, it's been a long time, let's do lunch or whatever, and we start to force our relationships back together. And sometimes it's okay to just let them retire. You evolve over the years. You develop and grow into a new person with new interests, new triggers, new, mindsets, all that jazz. And not everybody is going to evolve the same way with you. So what I have chosen to do in this stage is to, number one, give thanks for every relationship, every person that has come into my life. And if they are still here, it is intentional that they are still here. I still choose to keep certain people in my world. Those that are rock solid, my little girl group, my sisters, they are truly my crew. And I've had the same core friendships for, good Lord, if I do the math, 45 years. You're probably blowing your mind with that. But yeah, I've had the same core girlfriend group since I was in the early elementary school years, and we are still tight. But there are some that, just came in for a season. There are other, couples that we were friends with. They came in for a season, and then we drifted apart. And I give honor to the fact that those relationships served us at that time. Those people were close to us at that time for a reason, because we had common interests. Maybe we were close in proximity. It was very convenient to maybe walk over and see them on a daily basis. And that's okay. I was able to release myself from the pressure of having to keep up certain relationships that maybe were no longer serving me. And that's okay. I want to make sure that you understand the message in that, and I'm probably not being as eloquent as I would like to be, but there are people that are with you for a season, and it's not a lack on their part, it's not a lack on your part, but just to give thanks for the time that you did have together, and then allow those relationships to evolve out of your space very naturally. And that being said, that is my fifth and final tip, is to be unashamed to go deeper with those relationships that are serving you, the ones that are the ones that fill you up, the people that you get the energy from them. They feed you positively. They listen to you when you just need to babble. They might be those that you're learning from. It could be on the opposite end. At my age, I have a lot of relationships where I'm mentoring people, and it means a lot to be able to hold on to some relationships. And when I feel it in this season, I don't take it for granted. I don't assume that people will always be around. I don't want to take for granted that those people that are here with me today will still be here 10 years from now. We just very recently had someone in my husband's friend group that suddenly passed away. She was my age. Her kids are the same age as mine. And she randomly went to work one day. By natural causes, she did not come home that day. And we were all kind of sitting around wondering, oh my gosh, who could be next? Could it be me? Are there things that I need to hold on to that are precious right now that I need to not put off? People that I need to tell how I feel about them? Kids that I have a riff with, people that I may have been at odds with, that I don't necessarily want to hold on to that baggage and carry them into tomorrow or next week. And so it just made us all realize that the things, the people, the relationships that are important to you right now, it's okay to let those folks know it. It's okay to share how you feel. If that's your rock, if that's your girl, if those people mean that much to you, tell them. Make sure they receive their flowers from you while they're still here. And that is a lesson that I've learned over and over again, where as we see our friends, as we get older and sadly start to fade away or pass away, we know that we won't always be here together. So while you have them, go deeper on those relationships. Let them know how you feel. Let them know what they mean to you. And just lean into it. Don't be ashamed. Don't be, embarrassed, whatever. Hey, girl, I love you. Hey, girl, you mean the world to me. Being here for lunch today meant so much to me. Tell them. We got enough negative crap out there. We got enough that is coming on our shoulders. We got enough pressures or whatever. So if you are able to be that positive light for someone in just 5 minutes of their day, do it. Don't listen, to folks that say there's no more goodness in the world. There's no more good people in the world. You be the one that makes that difference. And that is where I will end it for that. I will give you a couple of more tips, some questions that I want you to ask yourself. If you are in this same mindset where you're just like, you know what, she's right, that there's some things that I'm holding on to, some things that I want to let go of to just make my existence lighter, there's some questions that I want you to ask yourself, and let's see if it helps you. So the first question I want you to ask yourself, if you're feeling this same way, is where does my daily routine drain me? Think about it. Are there things that you're doing that you've always done because you think you have to? Is it your beauty routine? Is it your daily commute? Is it cooking dinner at night? Where in your daily routine do you feel like you are draining the energy from yourself? And think about how you can change it, what you can let go to make it just a little bit easier. The second question I want you to ask yourself is, what do I wish my morning routine or my evening routine, what do I wish that daily routine looked like? Is it a ritual where I get to wake up and have a bunch of free time to just center myself and meditate? Or is it maybe a nighttime routine where everything is done and you just fall into bed? Think about it. You're in control of this. And if you're like me and you're over 40, over 50, and you have less responsibilities for other people, where can you make your daily routine a little bit automated or smoother? And then do it. Another question is, who in my life do I wish I spent more time with? Could be your husband, your spouse, your partner. It could be the neighbor down the street that y'all clicked with. It could be a professional connection that you just wish you could sit down and just pour into them or they pour into you. Who is it in your life that you wish you spent more time with? And if you do all of these things to lighten up your daily routine, streamline what you do with your morning, your other things, protecting your peace, it will create more time where you can spend it with the folks that you choose to. And then the last question that I want you to ask yourself is, where can I start saying no and letting go? Where can I start saying no and letting go? And really, really lean into that, because you can practice this every single day. There is something that you just felt obligated to say yes to today. There's something that you committed to that you wish you hadn't stepped into. In the future, whether it is in the next hour, in the next week, or whatever, I want you to practice using the statement no and see how it feels. Don't wait for the blowback. Don't wait for the retaliation or whatever. Say no, let it lie, and then you move on to something else. And then you tell me how it makes you feel. And as a matter of fact, as I close down this episode, that is what I want to hear about. So I want you to go into the comments and I want you to tell me what of these recommendations that I made actually resonated with you. So if there are places, or maybe, you know what, I'll back up. Maybe you've got some information that you could teach me. Maybe there's something that you've done that's allowed you to live a little bit lighter in these midlife years. If you could go into the comments, share all of that or share it with each other so that we can all take a few lessons of how to make midlife a little bit stress less and lighter. So as always, I appreciate you being here for another episode of the Melanated Midlife. Be sure to like and subscribe to the show, and please share it with somebody that might need to receive this message. So until next time, y'all take what I shared with you and make sure that it brings some goodness into your world or someone else's. All right.